talking for days. I've been staring at the clock as the radio plays. I'm enslaved. Yeah, rolling another, I'm stuck in my seat for the whole control of my speech. Yeah, I've been trying to get off this couch for a minute and a whole damn week. No kidding, I'm skinny, I cannot eat. Got a million motherfuckers that depend on me. Yeah, every friend in my family, from a girl, every fan I meet myself. I'm too on till I'm too off. Come down to make new thoughts, like jumping off of that rooftop. Whole life never when I knew not to make moves based on my mood drops. Like who's lost? Like who's lost? It's yo, steadily killing me, running my brain full of shame. I don't wanna lose it. Full of stage, trying to find my pain. See the sun coming out of that rain. My day really not game. I'ma never slow down. I'ma never behave. Stuck inside this prison, inside this cage. It's taking over. Yeah, I'm a slave for you. I'm a slave for you. Ripping 100 more less. Never stop, no rest. Till the stress is breath in my chest. Till it's diamonds wrapping my neck. Progress to a god from a goddamn mess. Hopeless, more tests. More blessed. Dug deep down trying to find my best. Find a beast, had to kill a conquest. I'm next. I'm too on till I'm too on.
But nowadays, it's just lots of dive coming in from both sides. So it's not so much as a
Mhm.
counter pick, but it's really a skill matchup between the junglers trying to figure out who can get tempo first.
Yeah.
Um, I'm really interested in the bot lane for RR because Jinx Lulu is really potent. Anyone
Mhm.
who can proc a lot of uh, pixie dust coming out of the passive is really good synergy with Lulu, and Jinx can do it better than just about anyone. Um, Lulu Ultimate also is a really good disengage tool. Every time Tristana's gonna try and dash onto Lulu post six, it's gonna be into a knockup from Lulu, ideally. And a something that isn't well known about the Lulu Ultimate is that it also creates a slow field around the target, up
Mm.
to about a 60% slow. So it's a
Mhm.
really good disengage tool because Diana's going to be trying to walk into Jinx, but she's going to be slowed. So it's a really easy kite tool.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Now, the penalties, as you can see, did come out for the side of CCGA. So they will not get those bans today. They will not get those bans in this particular game. But the Thresh and the Mordekaiser coming out from the side of Ram Ranchers. And so those dive tool, or I'm sorry, the dive tool from the Thresh or the ability for the Thresh to lantern the Tristana or the Lucian out of danger is going to be taken away. Now, the Mordekaiser does have the ability to disrupt a lot of team fights, so taking that off the board is definitely a nice addition. Would have been a nice addition to their teams. But the Malphite coming out does, it just further reiterates what Uber Cheche was saying about the dive potential. So, I mean, they are very, very dive heavy. They want to go in, they want to destroy the carries on that team before they are able to get off a lot of their damage. Now, with the Mundo coming out, now I love Mundo. Dr. Mundo is one of my new favorite top laners. He is fantastic. What do you think about the Mundo, Charles?
Um, it'll be interesting to see how well he does after the adjustments from the last patch. It slightly reduced the passive healing in lane, and ideally, you really want to play him into someone who has one basic CC, because with his passive, he loses a bit of current health, but gain to block his crowd control spell, but he gains it back in percent max HP when he picks up his little blob that he drops, much like Zac.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so it's a really good staying tool, but Malphite only has CC on his ultimate. So that's a bit of health regen lost to him. It'll be interesting to see how he copes. That being said, Malphite, historically weak to magic damage, doesn't get any of the buffs that he gets for armor for MR.
Mhm.
So Mundo's definitely going to be competitive in this lane. He's going to be looking to harass.
Yeah, exactly. And I, CCGA is, I mean, with the Zach coming in as well, I'm very, very interested to watch these team fights. I think they are going to be a lot of fun. The Malzahar on the side of Ram Ranchers, being able to, uh, lock up that Diana, I think is really, really going to help. If Diana dives into your back line, and manages to get a good ult off, you're gonna have a bad time.
Mhm.
So I think the Malzahar pick is actually really good. Now, the Malzahar is going to have a little bit of trouble into the Lucian, I believe. The just the His passive's ability to get rid of Malzahar's creeplings, I want to call them creeplings,
Mhm.
are it's going to make it a little bit harder for him. Now, Malzahar already has great great wave control without the creeplings. His malefic visions do definitely make the lane phase very easy for him, very easy to push up. But I think the Lucian is a really good answer to that, making it a lot harder for Malzahar to do his job, making sure that they have priority in lane.
Yeah. Definitely a strong in lane pick. I think when we get to team fights, CCGA definitely drafted a really strong engage comp. But on the other side, I think Ranchers drafted a really good catch comp. They're totally willing to accept the engagement coming in from CCGA. Mundo can tank it up. Hecarim can tank it up. Lulu is good to buff a carry if they get engaged upon. Malzahar has a shield to block some initial burst and CC. So it's gonna come down to see how coordinated CCGA is, because if one carry gets out of position, they're just gonna get locked up immediately with the Malzahar and the Hecarim.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of threat on both sides.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Now, while we are waiting to load into game, who do you think won this draft? Who do you think is going to, just from this perspective, who do you think is going to have an easier time taking this dub today?
I mean, honestly, it's really hard to say. CCGA, sometimes when you see comps like this, they'll over-index between the mid and ADC will be hard physical damage, and then they'll have a bunch of tanks around to compensate. But they're packing both barrels today with the Diana bringing the magic damage and just on the Lucian bringing the AD. It's the same for Ranchers on the other side. I think this is about as even a matchup as we could see at this level of play.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about the matchups a little bit. Now, we saw last week that CCGA has the ability to actually roll people, but then they absolutely have the ability to get stomped as well. So what do you think? What do you think that Ram Ranchers what is their win condition? What do you think Ram Ranchers is gonna want to do to just steamroll this game? Because they definitely have a lot of scaling. So what are they going to do in the early game to be able to kind of basically take away the team fight edge that CCGA has?
I'm gonna be really looking for jungle impact in the bot lane. Maybe some level 6 TP roams from Malzahar if he opts to go the teleport route. It's really going to be about investment into the Jinx, because Jinx is definitely strong enough to carry this game. As far as I'm aware, basically untouched by buffs or nerfs in the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
So she's as strong as ever.
Yeah.
They CCGA. I will say that they gunning at the beginning of team fights. Malphite Ultimate and Zac Ultimate have pretty long cooldowns. Or not Zac Ultimate, Zacky. They all have long cooldowns, even though it's a basic ability for Zac on his engagement. So if they whiff, then they're going to be vulnerable to the counter engage from Ranchers.
Yeah.
So that's a threat that they're going to have to look for.
Yeah, for sure. And on the side of Crystal Cave Gaming, what is it that we really want to see out of their engages? Do we want to see a full team commit, or do we want to see them go in one at a time? Do we want to see them wait to pull the trigger until they have a good opportunity? What do you think? What do you think their win condition is?
Yeah, I mean, they're totally they should feel comfortable with receiving the initial engagement, because it's going to be hard with a lot of the double mobility picks from the Tristana and the Lucian. They both have dashes. Tristana is a little bit even more complex, because if anyone's ever tried to catch a Tristana, you know that rocket jump can get you out of some really shady situations.
Yeah, sure can.
So it's going to be up to them to play it really patient. Try not to take too much poke as the game goes on. Tristana auto attack range can get pretty insane. There's a lot of poke coming out from Tristana autos, Lucian Qs, Diana Qs, Malphite Qs. They want to try and mitigate that as much as they can, while putting out some poke from themselves with Jinx autos and Mundo cleavers.
Yeah, for sure. Now, it does look like someone in Twitch chat did let us know that it looks like the reason why CCGA did receive a penalty on these bans was because of one of the players did not complete his ranked games for this week. I'm sure a lot of you know that in a lot of these leagues, you are required to play a certain number of ranked games per week to make you eligible for the following week's games. So, because of that, they did get those two they were not able to ban 2 champions for this week. Now, we are still waiting for the game to load in, so let's talk a little bit about our hype matchup here. Who are you now? I know you said earlier in the draft that you are most excited to see the bot lane matchup. Is that still true given the CCGAs and Ram Ranchers, the rest of their team comp?
Yes. Just because it's still a really strong point of power. Even if, like, for example, even if Lucian starts to snowball in the mid lane, Malzahar is still going to be forever useful. That ultimate is just something that you can't underestimate ever. It's always going to be a useful tool. Same in the top lane. It doesn't really matter who wins. The other side is still going to be pretty tanky as well. Good engager on the side of Malphite. Just a fantastic meatball on the side of Mundo with his ultimate healing. The only parts of the both team comps that are really performance dependent is going to be the jungle as far as what they can influence and who gains strength in the bot lane.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Clutch in the chat was talking about the Serpent's Fang second item, which is definitely a hype item, especially for a team with Lulu on it. You know, being able to cut those shields down as fast as possible is going to hurt the side of Ram Ranchers. Now, one thing that we did not point out, Lordy, it looks like we have an early game engage. Before I go into what I was about to say, it looks like they are. Oh no, but the Mundo
Gave up
Cleaver.
the game.
Yep, exactly. They were trying to sneak in. Mundo was like, nah, I go where I please. And he decides to throw a cleaver over the wall. It does look like
pause.
it does look like we have a pause coming out. So
yeah, that cleaver throw was definitely a bug. It was unintentional.
I do.
Oh, we're back in. We're just going.
Oh my gosh.
We're going back out.
We're in and then we're out.
Yeah.
I think, that Mundo Cleaver, that's a feels bad. I mean, they would have had a perfect opportunity to get in there and at least get a ward down. They did get a ward down on the blue side, so that will give them a little bit of a heads up on where Diana is going to start.
Yeah, and I just want to throw this out there. It wasn't entirely on the Mundo. I think Jinx was seen by Diana. She didn't hug the wall, because when you do that invade, you want to hug the wall to get into the bush so you can't be seen by whoever's 5-pointing in the mid lane.
Yeah.
But the Jinx took a shortcut going diagonal into it. So I'm pretty sure it was spotted out either way.
Yeah. Now, one thing we did not go into was the fact that CCG has chosen a Zac support. Now, This is something that you do not see very often unless you're playing solo queue with me. And so, what are some of the benefits of picking that Zac in the bot lane with the Tristana?
It's a pretty reliable engage. Probably one of the few champions that can go in as deeply as Tristana can. You do have some lane sustain. You'll probably see Zac casting W on the minions once he takes the spell. He's probably rocking Q or E right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're getting lots of passive sustain off the globs.
Yeah,
Other than that,
definitely. Yeah,
other than that, you're still in a double range matchup, which is going to be rough. But once you get to level 3 or so, you should start to see some signs of life from the CCG bot lane.
for sure. For sure. Now, we are just gonna kind of getting a standard bot lane, not a whole lot going on down here. We're just kind of farming up, waiting to get those level 2 power spikes, and waiting for this game to get a bit off the ground. And basically in the top lane, we have not a whole lot going on either. In the top lane, I know that Malphite and Mundo are both just kind of want to farm up. They want to trade blows a little bit, but there's not a whole lot of excitement. Now, with Mundo, I think Mundo is actually a really good pick into Malphite simply because Mundo's Q and Malphite's Q both do a significant amount of damage. I think that the damage that when Mundo hits you with his Q, with his cleaver, it kind of sneaks up on you. A few of those straight to the dome, that'll chunk you out and makes you extremely susceptible to an all-in.
Yeah, and I think Malphite just kind of figured that out a little bit. You could see in the early trades, Mundo was down to a little bit above half, but due to Cleaver lands giving some HP back and just his passive constantly healing him, he's about even in these trades. And I think he's only landed 1 or 2 cleavers on the Malphite, but that was already enough to make the trades about even.
Yeah, exactly. And the CS difference around the map looks pretty. Oh my gosh! Looks like we got a gank on the Diana goes in, but she is not able. She is able to get a few of her E procs off, but it does not look like she's going to be able to get the kill. But then Mundo decides, all right, it is my time to go in. He throws a cleaver at him, but Malphite is actually just going to take those to the face and say, nope, I am good. And those kind of short little trades are something that are, they're going to happen a lot. Now, with the wave being stacked in Mundo's favor, I am surprised to see that Malphite. That Malphite didn't get. That Mundo didn't get more off. But the simple fact of the matter is that now Malphite kind of has the wave frozen in front of his tower, which gives a really great opportunity. Oh my gosh, CCGA's Malphite is going to try and take a little bit of a trade. But again, this is something that we saw last week. I'm not quite sure what is going on in that top lane, but the CCGA's top lane is consistently trading into those minion waves, which is something that which is just something that you don't need to do. You're taking free minion damage, and that's just not something that you need to do.
Yeah, and I was actually just about to compliment him on the fact that taking a lot of short trades as Malphite, playing around the passive shield cooldown, is a really intelligent thing to do. Especially because the weakness of percent damage spells is always, percent HP damage spells is always going to be shields, because they don't affect your max HP, so the spell isn't going to be dealing any more damage to you, but you're still getting the damage blocked. It's a very effective counter tool, playing champions with shields into percent HP champions. That's part of why Malphite isn't the worst counter to Mundo, in spite of the fact that he favors armor into a champion that deals a significant amount of magic damage.
Yeah, yep, exactly. Now it does. Oh, it looks like we did miss the first blood down bot side. It looks like Malphite was able to TP down and get the kill onto Jinx, which is unfortunate because Jinx really wants that ability to get off the ground as quickly as possible. So with her missing a bunch of minions now, that's pretty unfortunate. They were able to burn the teleport. Or, I'm sorry, they did burn the teleport from Malphite, but with him getting a kill down there, it is definitely worth it. The smite did come out a bit early for the dragon, but I mean, it was pretty much uncontested, so you can't really fault them for that.
No, absolutely not. It's You'd rather see the money on the Tristana to help that snowball going, but definitely Mundo is happy to keep it in his pocket. I'm sure he'll be the frontline hero that CCG needs him to be later on.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Now,
I would like to point out that in spite of that teleport play, the CS is about even with the wave crashing into Malphite right now. So he's
Yeah.
going to be picking up some CS. It's probably going to even out, or might even be up a positive 1 or 2 for Malphite.
Yeah, exactly. And that's going to make Mundo's job just so much harder. The top lane experience is really, really high right now since they changed the experience. So basically, what that means is with Malphite getting a kill on to, oh my gosh, but it looks like Zach is going to jump in. Unfortunately, Lulu is not going to have it. She does go ahead and polymorph, but Zach does have his passive, so he doesn't need to worry too much about that, and he is able to just walk away.
Yeah, that is the downside of having such a long engage range, is that the walkout takes a while.
Yeah.
And it feels much longer when you're polymorphed, as well as running away from 2 ranged champions putting damage into you. But he gets out just fine. Passive not blown. And again, he can sustain. Looks like invade from the Malzahar. Malzahar
Oh
pops
my gosh, the
ulti. They're dropping the damage, and it's going to be enough to kill Tristana there.
Yep, and it looks like Tristana, or I'm sorry, it does look like Jinx was able to get an assist on that. Unfortunately, no kill over to her. But Malzahar does pick it up. He does want that infusion of gold. It makes him his ability to get to his Ludens a lot faster. I don't know if he might actually go Leandries this game. I don't know why I said Ludens.
They also just invaded for the blue buff that they put onto Malzahar, so that's going to be a lot of resources down for CCG, not only giving up the kill, but also losing their own blue buff.
Yeah, for sure. That just means now it is not as big a deal. Oh my gosh, they are rotating. The Diana does go in. She does pop the ulti, but here comes the the devastating charge. But Malphite does come in and is able to ulti as well. And it does not look like Malphite is long for this world. But oh my gosh, here comes Zach jumping in to try and counter gank. But it does not look like anything is going to come of it. Just a few blows back and forth. So we have a 0-for-0 in the mid lane.
Yeah. Diana actually went down there. It was a 1-for-0.
Oh my god, I did not even see that, and she was up before the time I even before the fight even ended. So I apologize for that. Now
also Diana's having trouble making up her mind between building Protobelt or Nashor's Tooth. She has the bow for the Nashor's Tooth component, and I cannot remember the name of that item, but the 1050 gold component for Protobelt. It's gonna really delay either one of those items, which are really good power spikes. Hextech Alternator, thank you. Yeah, but either way, that's 1,000 gold down on whichever component or whichever item she wants to build. Seems like a little bit of a misstep, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Now the Diana does have the ability to scale pretty well, so I wouldn't consider it a huge loss, but definitely does slow her down, like you were saying. Like it is going to take her a little bit more time to hit those power spikes that she wants to really be able to take out those carries on the side of Ram Ranchers.
And I would say that if you're building either of those items, it's with a clear purpose in mind. Nashor's Tooth gives you some really good farming and objective damage. So you can power farm a lot easier if you're feeling like your lanes aren't getting a lot done. If you want to gank more, Protobelt gives you that engage and the move speed. So you might not even need the E dash. You can save it for when you're absolutely sure you can land it. You can just walk in for the ultimate. Zach's going in over the wall.
Yeah. And it looks like they are not going to take the rest of that fight. Zach did ultimate and was able to just disengage that fight. It looks like they are fighting over this dragon. So we will hopefully see. Oh my gosh! But here's Mundo out. He does flash out. But the devastating charge is going for the Hecarim. It looks like they can't really decide whether or not they want to go in or not. The fight for this dragon is coming up. It looks like CCGA is trying to engage, but the Unstoppable Onslaught does come out. The Malphite ultimate, he is able to get onto the Jinx, but he just does not do enough damage. The blue team is able to secure the dragon, but they are they are running for their life, or CCGA is just running for their lives. I cannot talk. I apologize. And that means that Ram Ranchers is able to just go ahead and take their blue side.
And it's really interesting to see the Ram top laner add a both flash and got pushed off the objective, and CCG can't coordinate and get the objective in the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Good lord, I had a point that I wanted to make. The Malphite engaged. Malphite engaged by himself.
Yeah,
went
exactly.
deep into the back line, but Hecarim was doing a really good job zoning the team off. There's a flash out from Jinx on the Zac engage. And but yeah, so that was a lack of coordination, I think, on the CCG for the dragon take.
Yeah, for sure. And that was exactly the same point that I was going to bring. Oh my gosh, that Lucian is starting to hurt. The Kraken Slayer coming out from him is just such a huge power spike for any ADC, and with the fact that that Lucian is in the mid lane is just going to make him hit those power spikes even faster. Now, back to what you were talking about with the Malphite engage, that is something that I've seen consistently from the side of CCG. They don't seem to they always seem to be on a little bit different page. I would really like to see them have one consistent shot caller and then have that same person having the entire team listening to whatever call it is on that side. The thing about shot calling is if
hold on just a moment, because it looks like they're about to do a cheese in the bot lane. I got Zac Tristana sitting in alcove, but Diana spotted on the ward. She's going to back up. Still waiting for the cheese, though.
Yep, there's the Zac engage, and the explosive charge comes down from Tristana. There comes the Lulu ult, and that is going to save Lulu's life, but unfortunately, here comes the TP from Malphite, and the ultimate on Malphite as well. The Tristana is able to hop and get her resets on, but it is not enough damage onto the Mundo. He is just taking those shots, but Diana is able to jump under tower and secure the kill on Lulu.
That's a good 2-for-1.
Yeah, so the cheese did end up working in the favor of CCG. So, that is something that you usually see from a Zac support. You'll see him hide in those alcoves and then just chill there waiting for somebody to step up, and they will end up getting a kill there.
Absolutely. Once you get enough points into E, sitting in the alcove, you really have access to the entire lane. It's just a matter of what direction you're facing for the cone. But you can E just about anywhere in the lane, and even you can make it into the river bush at the max rank, I believe. But that's good for them. Hecarim trying to poke his head into the enemy jungle to see what he can see, try and take a camp. Looking like they might want to contest a little bit. Diana Q Smite takes it.
Oh, but it looks like the Zac is going to jump in and try and look for an engage. They are just kind of back. Oh, but here comes the Malphite ult, and the Unstoppable Onslaught comes through. The Malphite does look like he is going to get away, but the Devastating Charge is able to take him down, as you see the Jinx rocket fly right by his head, even if the Devastating Charge didn't come through. You could see the Malphite getting ticked down by the red buff. So we knew something was coming. We knew that he was definitely going to go down. Poor Zac just watching his top lane turret go down. I feel bad for him for sure. Feeling like you can't do anything in that situation is a sad day for sure.
Yeah, and you could really see the malefic visions coming in for Malzahar. Really obnoxious to deal with, especially when he has Ludens, because Ludens ticks are getting refreshed after every malefic visions tick.
Yep.
So I think it's 4 seconds for each, so it can be 8 seconds of tick damage altogether.
Oh, there's the devastating charge that's coming through onto the Diana, and that means she is not long for this world, and that means a free dragon for the side of Ram Ranchers. In those situations when you are setting up for dragon, you should not be in the river by yourself. I don't know quite what was going on. I know Lucian was there, but I don't even think at this point Diana and Lucian is a good idea to go into the river.
No.
Yeah, that's with no turrets down for the side of Ram Ranchers. They are having an excellent time being able to rotate down the river, get that vision, get dragon control way before CCG is.
Yes. It also looked like CCG kind of was suffering from a split call. It looked like 3 members just didn't want anything to do with the dragon, and 2 members really wanted to contest. So it can manifest into awkward moments like that one.
Yeah.
But right now, the game state is looking rough for CCG. Looks like a pretty hefty gold deficit, about almost 10,000 gold in Ram's favor. So we're really going to be looking to see CCG try and stabilize.
Yeah.
We talked last week about how in double marksman comms, I like to see a balance between Gale Force and Kraken Slayer for the damage balance. But when you're behind like this, it's really good to have had them both go Kraken Slayer for the consistent DPS. So there's still damage potential for CCG. They're not being scaled out, and the danger of that happening is pretty low. But they do need to clean up the coordination a little bit.
Definitely, without a doubt. And you can see now with Hecarim charging the devastating charge and the unstoppable onslaught with the ultimate from Malzahar is just going to destroy the Lucian. They have complete control over the blue side of CCGA, which means that they are going to be able to take this bot lane turret uncontested. Now, we were talking about the malefic visions on Malzahar. Now, when you get the malefic visions on the Malzahar and you Q, it resets the time for that malefic visions. So all you have to do is wait for it to go down a little bit, and you hit your enemy with another Q, and boom, you have got a huge chunk of damage that is going to come out from Malzahar, which is a huge part of his kit.
Absolutely. And it's very potent against champions like Zac and Malphite, who like to stack HP. But it's also potent against the the squish your targets as well. Leandri's change from last season to this season used to be exclusively percent HP damage, but it also nowadays it has a flat damage component, ensuring that it's still doing the damage against squish your targets that don't stack as much HP, and that's going to be uncontested Baron for the side of Rem.
Yeah, and at 21 minutes, it does not look like we are going to have much more time in this game. I would imagine we're going to see Ram Ranchers go ahead and get those lanes pushed out, get their vision lines pushed up. I do like the fact that Diana is going into her jungle, clearing that out as fast as possible, because as soon as Ram Ranchers gets an opportunity, they are going to be moving up, getting those vision lines way farther up than CCGA would like, which means that Diana isn't really going to be able to farm. If she walks in there, she's just going to get jumped and destroyed. And with the next dragon coming up in, I can't see the objective timer, a minute and a half, I want to say. That is, if Ram Ranchers is going to be able to secure that dragon, that will put them at soul point. And Ocean Soul on Mundo is not going to be fun.
Yeah. The hourglass is up, so it's going to be less than a minute out on that dragon. Zach engage.
And the ultimate
finds
from
nothing.
Zach comes out. And the Malphite ult does come out. He is able to get onto the Jinx, but the Lulu ult is just too potent. That means Malphite is going to go down, but the TP from Lucian is going to put him in a dangerous spot. He is going to have to flash over the wall to get out of there. And Malphite, even with all of his resistances stacked up, he can't tank enough. He can't take an Charles. I am
He can't take enough damage.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Not. He absolutely cannot do that. Especially with Malefic Visions ticking. You saw Diana try to just walk through the Malzahar to try and dash onto the back line and help Malphite a little bit, but gets ulted and can't do anything and dies.
Yep. Exactly. Now, it does not look like Ram Ranchers is looking to end. They do take the mid lane and top lane inhibitor, but they are rotating down towards bot. They're going to get that lane pushed up, but Zach is not in a safe spot. Here comes the devastating charge. The Shirelia's popped. Oh my god, but the Diana ulti is, oh my gosh, it's not going to be enough, but the Zach ultimate does come out, and here's Mundo. They cannot get enough damage down on it. They just don't have it, and here comes the devastating charge from Hecarim. The zap does come out from the Jinx, but it is just short. She is not able to get that kill on Tristana, and I'm fairly certain they're just going to walk this down to the Nexus.
Absolutely. Looks like Ram tried to dot every. Oh no, they're going to dot every I, cross every team, or every T. If I've learned one thing about this team, it's that they really want to be methodical. They want to get everything off the board. Probably could have ended this game a short while ago, but they just really want the complete victory in the end.
Exactly. And if you'll notice, Ram Ranchers still does not have a turret down. They are in a commanding lead of this game. They are going to go ahead and take that fourth dragon. That does put them at soul point. So what do we need to see out of CCG in order for them to get back into this game?
That's going to be a hard ask. Because really it just kind of comes down to coordination. You could kind of see in the last fight that Malphite tried to ult he walked through Jinx to try and ult the low health Lulu. We really, if we want to see any signs of life from this team, they have to believe they can win, because as it stands right now, it seems like they're just playing to pad the stats a little bit.
Yes, it does start with belief. If you can believe you can win, there is still hope. Even
That's absolutely step one. On a more serious note, step two would be that it can kind of get into a mindset when you're a big beefy boy that you just want to go in. You want to be the engage. You want to set up the play. But counter engage is just as important. Disengage and peel. These are all important things. Ulting onto the engager who is in your backline can be a good idea and can be more effective than ulting onto the enemy backline. Ensuring your backline is safe to deal damage is really the bread and butter for front-to-back team comps like ADC comps.
Yep, exactly. I couldn't agree more. The CCG is just doing their best to try and stave off this siege right now, but unfortunately, it just doesn't look like they have enough. They've got these double super minions pouring into their base, and it looks like this will be the last stand for the side of CCG. The Zac does decide to go in, and the Diana does go in as well, but she is not able to get enough damage down before she is just bursted. And there goes Tristana to the super minions, and here's Hecarim. He just wants to make sure that they are able to close this game out in style. And that will be the end of game one in this series at 27 minutes. Ram Ranchers is able to take game one.
Mm-hmm. And as we saw last week, this is not the end We saw a similar performance from CCG in game 1 last week, but they still came back with a dominant performance in game 2. So this is still anyone's series, and I'm excited to see where game 2 goes.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm excited to see game 2. We will be right back. Oh my God. We will be right back with game 2. We're going to take a short break, but stay tuned.
Rolling another, I'm stuck in my seat for the whole control of my speech. Yeah, I've been trying to get off this couch for a minute and a whole damn week. No kidding, I'm skinny, I cannot eat. Got a million motherfuckers that depend on me. Yeah, every friend in my family. From a girl, every fan I meet myself. I'm too on till I'm too off. Come down, make new thoughts, like jumping off of that rooftop. Hold my camera when I do nothing to make moves based on my mood drops. Like who's lost? Like who's lost? It's yo, steadily killing me, running my brain full of shame. I don't wanna lose it. Full of stage, trying to find my pain. See the sun coming out of that rain. My day really not tame. I'ma never slow down. I'ma never behave. Stuck inside this prison, inside this cage. It's taking over. Yeah, I'm a slave for you. Slave for you. Ripping harder, more less. Never stop, no rest. Till the stress is breath in my chest. Till it's diamonds wrapping my neck. Progress to a god from a goddamn mess. Hopeless, more tests. More blessed. Dug deep down, trying to find my best. Find a beast, had to kill a conquest. I'm next. I'm too on till I'm too off. Come down, make new thoughts. Like jumping off of that rooftop. Hold my camera when I do nothing to make moves based on my mood drops. Like who's lost? Like who's lost? It's yo, steadily killing me, running my brain full of shame. I don't wanna lose it. Full of stage, trying to find my pain. See the sun coming out of that rain. My day really not tame. I'ma never slow down. I'ma never behave. Stuck inside this prison, inside this cage. It's taking over. Yeah, I'm a slave for you. I'm headed to the bottom of the bottle. I've been drowning, I've been floating away. Every other dollar that I got in bed, I probably went and pissed it away. I ain't fucking okay. I ain't liking it, babe. I don't even wanna talk. I'm just smoking my haze. I've been stuck in my ways. I've been stuck in for days. I've been staring at the clock as the radio plays. I'm enslaved. Yeah, rolling another, I'm stuck in my seat for the whole control of my speech. Yeah, I've been trying to get off this couch for a minute and a whole damn week. No kidding, I'm skinny, I cannot eat. Got a million motherfuckers that depend on me. Yeah, every friend in my family. From a girl, every fan I meet myself. I'm too on till I'm too off. Come down, make new thoughts. Like jumping off of that rooftop. Hold my camera when I do nothing to make moves based on my mood drops. Like who's lost? Like who's lost? Ripping harder, more less. Never stop, no rest. Till the stress is breath in my chest. Till it's diamonds wrapping my neck. Progress to a god from a goddamn mess. Hopeless, more tests. More blessed. Dug deep down, trying to find my best. Find a beast, had to kill a conquest. I'm next. I'm too on till I'm too off. Come down, make new thoughts. Like jumping off of that rooftop. Hold my devil, but I do not to make moves based on my mood drops. Like who's lost? Like who's lost? It's yours. Steadily killing me, running my brain full of shame. I don't wanna lose it. I'm so strange, trying to find my pain. I'm seeing something coming out of that rain. My team really not tame. I'ma never slow down. I'ma never behave. Stuck inside this place, inside this cave. It's taking over. I'm a slave for you. I'm headed to the bottom of the bottle. I've been drowning, I've been floating away. Every other dollar that I got in bed, I probably went and pissed it away. I ain't fucking okay, I ain't liking it, babe. I don't even wanna talk, I'm just smoking my haze. I've been stuck in my way.
And welcome back to our stream of CCGA versus Ram Ranchers. We are hopping right into draft. It looks like we don't have any bans just yet. The Karma ban very, very fast. So given what we saw from the last game, Uber JJ, what do we want to see this game?
I really feel like it's just a coordination issue. So whatever plan they decide to go with, I would like to see everyone be on board with it. And I also want to see. I mean, it really just comes down to the players themselves, right? Their comp was fantastic last game, I thought. I really just want to see a lot of flexibility. Like just because Malphite can turn off his brain and go burr. I'd like to see him think a little bit more about his ulti placement and whether he needs to go in deeper or secure his own backline with his crowd control.
Yeah, exactly. Now, on the side of CCGA, they do not want to see the Morgana either, as well as the Malzahar. So they were definitely having some trouble with that Malzahar last game.
Mhm.
But the Gwen, Nocturne, and Xin Zhao coming out from the side of Ram Ranchers, no surprise on any of those. Gwen just terrifying, Nocturne terrifying, Zinzhao terrifying. There's just great bands all around. The first pick, Hecarim, coming out from CCGA. And the Lulu to answer. Now, we saw Lulu in the last game just it was taking over the game, really. Jinx would not die. It was impossible for anyone on the side of CCGA to even get to Jinx at any point in the game. So I think that is definitely a great pick.
Yeah, no, absolutely. A little bit of a question mark for the Volibear lock-in. I'd rather have seen them just lock the ADC, just because it's going to be someone who attacks fast, whether it's Kog'Maw or Jinx or someone else. But they go with the Volibear, opting with the jungle top flex pick.
Yeah, yeah,
Sets
exactly.
locked in on the side of CCG. They're looking for the beefy boy front line. You got Hecarim, you got Set. They're looking to make it thick.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Now, I really like the Set pick here. And the reason why is because Set can basically go anywhere.
Mhm.
I have never seen Set in the jungle, but I would not be surprised if he could do it.
Mhm.
The Tristana coming out again, but you're right. The CCGA does definitely want a bit of a front line. They do want to go with this front to back team fight comp, which is a little bit different. Or I'm sorry, it looks like it's going to be a bit different from what we saw last game. They do definitely still have a lot of this dive potential, but it is a little bit more front to back at this point.
Mhm.
And the
Um,
Anivia coming out from the side of Ram Ranchers, that is something I haven't seen in a while, and that should be a lot of fun.
yeah. So at this point, I'm looking for draft intelligence. Maybe Ram Ranchers is taking advantage of the fact that CCGA has no round two bans. Um, Now they're dropping mid lane bans to protect the Anivia. Caston is a pretty strong anti mage in general. Last ban probably going to be some kind of counter to either jungle matchup. If Volibear has something he doesn't want to play against if he's jungle, or it could just be another mid lane ban in the form of the
Yeah,
Akali.
yeah. The Akali is terrifying as always. Now, with the Anivia coming out, I think that is going to give the Volibear and the Lulu, who both have a lot of CC in their own right, it's just going to be able to. It's just going to be able to have the Anivia ultimate tick as long as possible. I think that those two picks, the Lulu and the Volibear, are actually go really well side by side with the Anivia.
And Jinx picks coming in. I would have liked to have seen support bans coming out from the side of Ram Gaming just to really secure the bot lane, because you probably have a good idea that the Tristan is going bot again. They did not. It could be a set support, but it could
Yeah,
also not. And you can draft to kind of force it. If they feel like there's no better options than the set, you can kind of force it to not be a flex pick by banning out alternative support options.
yeah,
But they do draft the LeBlanc, so it's a guaranteed Tristan in the bot lane. LeBlanc trying to exercise some early game muscles as far as pushing out the Anivia, having kill threat in combination with the Hecarim. Very immobile on the Anivia, no dashes to speak of.
oh my gosh, the Blitzcrank. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I love the Blitzcrank pick. Here's the
Mhm.
thing about Blitzcrank: if you do not land your hooks, you're basically a cannon minion. So I think
uh,
that
I would
CCG.
disagree.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I think that is much more useful. A cannon minion would be much more useful than a Blitzcrank without hook. May I don't even know. I think Blitzcrank without hook is less than a minion because at least the caster minion can deal some DPS, pretty high attack speed. Melee minions can tank some tower shots.
That's right.
It's
That's
really
right.
hard to determine the usefulness of a
Yes,
Blitzcrank without hook.
and with the Mundo coming out, it's not even like Blitzcrank is going to be able to hook the biggest target that's on their team. I mean, yes, you could hook the Volibear, but then Volibear is just going to ultimate right out of that Blitzcrank. So, I mean, the Blitzcrank is really going to have to hope to get a hook on Jinx, Anivia, or Lulu.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I think the reason why you drafted here is just for kill threat in the 2v2. Because if Lulu gets pulled or Jinx gets pulled in the pre-level 6, it's going to be a kill. They have
Yeah.
no dashes, no mobility outside of Whimsy from Lulu. But even then, that's just a move speed buff. And if you're pulled 1,000 units away from safety, it's going to be a hard time to walk back.
Exactly.
Uh,
And in the bot lane, you know, especially with these scaling with Jinx scaling, uh, having that time out of lane can just be so absolutely devastating. You want to spend as much time hitting those minions as possible. ADCs
mhm.
being the most item reliant champions in the game. So, yeah, hopefully, and like you were saying, if Blitzcrank can hit those hooks on Lulu or Jinx, you know, they could possibly shut that either one of those champions down. Hopefully, the Jinx. Um,
Mhm.
but let's talk about the matchups a little bit here. In the top lane, we've got Mundo versus Set. What do you think about that matchup?
Well, this is kind of playing into what we talked about last time, where you have a champion who has CC built into the basic abilities of their kit.
Mhm.
So when Set uses E, first of all, it's not going to work,
Yeah,
at least the first
exactly.
time. Second of all, Mundo's going to take some damage because it costs him a percentage of his current HP to block CC.
Yeah.
Um, so if Mundo's not ready for that, you can get bursted down faster than you thought you were going to.
Yeah.
But if he manages to pick it up consistently, it can be a pretty reliable source of CC. Um, I've played Mundo in the mid lane a couple times into Yasuo, and every time he tries to get the tornado off on me, I'm just walk over and pick up my capsule and continue beating his face in.
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
So you can see something like that play into it a bit here. I will say that the canister that Mundo drops is biased to drop towards the enemy,
Yo, for sure.
which into Yasuo, to continue the example, usually isn't as big a deal because he'll dash through you or around you in general. Usually isn't in a position to deny it, but Set generally just wants to sit in front of you and punch you.
Yeah,
So he'll be in a slightly better position to deny the capsule grab.
y- for sure. For sure. Now, the I would definitely give it to the side of Mundo on this side, or I'm sorry, in this matchup. What do you think?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Oh, I was just gonna say I would give it to the side of Mundo in the top lane.
Hmm.
What do you think?
I think it's really just going to come down to a capsule play. I mean, it's really nuanced.
Yeah.
And player skill is definitely going to be a factor. I think player skill and just player skill is going to be the determining factor in the matchup.
All right, so mechanics, skill check basically is what it's going to be in the top lane. That'll be fun to watch. Now let's move on to the jungle. We've got Hecarim and Volibear. Now I know that Hecarim does have really great gank potential as
Mhm.
well as Volibear, but I believe Volibear has a much stronger early game than the Hecarim. So let's talk about that. Do you now we know that Volibear is probably going to start his blue, and Hecarim probably wants to start his red. So I would imagine they're probably going to be pathing the same direction. What do you think?
Um, I think it is going to be a similar story to what it was last game.
Mhm.
Diana into Hecarim, you both are pretty gank heavy, trying to get that snowball started. Um, but before, I would say that Diana did not want to directly interact with Hecarim. I think
Yeah.
that is a poor 1v1 for the Diana. But with this one, I don't think Hecarim wants to meet Volibear because that E lightning call down with the shields and the percent HP damage It's not something you really want to interact with in the cold and dark of the jungle by
That's
yourself.
right. That's right. Exactly. Now, just a brief kind of tangent. I have seen volley bears running Rift Maker. What do you think about that?
I think it brings a lot to the table. I think any form of sustain when you have a shield is disgusting.
Yeah.
Because you're generating that shield and it's temporary, and you're really uh, hoping to mitigate some damage with it, but at the same time you're guaranteeing the regen. People like Vlad, for example, who have regen in their kits, you're really like your regen is tempered by how much damage you're taking at the same time. But for however long you're shielded, it doesn't matter how much damage you take, you're still getting health back guaranteed. And it's pretty potent. You see it nowadays with Viego. I know that Shield Bow is a pretty potent item on him for much the same reason.
Yeah.
And
Without a
anyone who
doubt.
takes Shield Bow in general, when you see that big shield pop, you take down the shield whenever you manage to do that, and you look at the health bar and it looks at about the same because they've been regening the whole time.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. Anyone who has faced a Yasuo or a Yone since the beginning of the season knows exactly what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Now, let's move down to the mid lane. I know we talked about this a little bit with LeBlanc having her early presence, and Anivia just kind of wanting to chill until 6, where she has some wave clear. That's the word I'm looking for. But what do you think? What do you think is really going to happen in this lane during this lane phase?
I mean, I'm really critical of lanes like this. If you opt into the LeBlanc, which was picked after the Anivia was locked in.
Mhm.
So if you opt into this, you better be roaming, or you better be killing Anivia and then roaming.
Yeah.
If I see LeBlanc just sit in lane all day, I'm gonna be wondering why you picked LeBlanc in the first place. Why didn't you just pick another control mage that scaled better?
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
yeah, and as you know, historically, I've been a jungle main for most of my league career, but I've recently pivoted into the mid lane main for
Mhm.
this entire year so far.
Yeah.
So I'm speaking from experience that I say that it's frustrating to see mid lanes not
Yeah.
use their champions to the fullest.
Yeah, exactly. And in what blah, now into the bot lane, Tristana Blitzcrank versus Jinx and Lulu.
Mhm.
Personally, I would give this to the. Honestly, it just depends on the Blitzcrank. If Blitzcrank land his hook on the champion that we want to see, or I'm sorry, on the Jinx or the Lulu, and the Tristana is able to, you know, get a kill in the early few levels, I think that that's really going to be a game changer. But honestly, it's basically just going to be a farm fest for Tristan. I'm sorry, for Jinx and the Lulu.
Yep, that's what we're looking for. Looking for a lot of the dictations of tempo in the bot lane to be determined by jungle mid proximity. So if I think if LeBlanc and Hecarim aren't spending a lot of time in the bot lane, I would hope that Jinx and Lulu, with their ranged advantage, would be able to make the lane work for them. Just farm it out and win.
Yeah.
It's looking like we got another cheese here. Mid lane
Oh.
looking like they're trying to feint with the typical 5 point.
Yeah, exactly. But I would think that Anivia may have spotted them out. It does look like Jinx and Lulu they went straight to tower. They probably know what's up
Mhm.
because Volibear is headed straight down to his red buff. And the Jinx, yeah, and the Jinx and Lulu are just, they're just kind of chilling. The Volibear was able to place a ward there, so they are privy to the invade, and Mundo, very wise of the Mundo to go ahead and put a ward down onto the enemy blue buff as well. You see, oftentimes when the with CCG trying that invade. If you are unable to get anything done on those invades, at least having the ability to get some vision onto the enemy jungle side, so you can track that jungler a little bit easier.
And you see Hecarim starting on the blue side, which is good for him. Mana sustain is really important to the Hecarim, as well as the cooldown reduction for the Q DPS. Volibear starting on the red side kind of indicates that he wants to gank a little bit more, because he can also just do a standard start on the bot side for a slightly better leash, and just do a clear and be satisfied with his life.
Oh, there's the hook
on
on
the
Jinx.
But you see the shield come in from Lulu, just instant. Jinx actually didn't take any damage from the hook. But the shield was just so on point.
Yep, exactly.
And so, as much as I want to believe in the power of Blitzcrank, it's really going to come down to intervention, because you can see that all of Blitzcrank's damage is just completely mitigated by Lulu Shield.
Yeah, exactly. And that, oh my gosh, there's another hook from the Jinx, and the explosive charge is able to come through the rocket jump, and gets reset, and the rocket jump does come through again, and the heal. Oh my gosh, so many resets on the rocket jump. She is going to end up going down with the kill going over to Lulu, but the Tristana getting that early kill is so crucial to this lane. That Blitzcrank able to land the hook on the Jinx just makes it so, oh my gosh, just makes it so important for the Tristana to get off the ground.
Absolutely. Happened right as I opened my mouth about how safe a lane it was. But if you let Tristana get resets up like that, she's definitely going to use it. She rode her own hype train a little bit too hard at the end there, trying to engage again on the Lulu instead of trying to get away. But it's just, we're here to have fun,
Exactly.
Tristana definitely looking like she's having a good time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I like having a kill on Tristana in the first 4 minutes. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I bet she's having a good time. Man, LeBlanc definitely taking advantage of her trading windows here. I really like to see it. Taking advantage of that Anivia in those early levels is crucial to that lane. And Blitzcrank has no fear whatsoever. He does not have any mana at this point, which is going to make him a little less useful in the lane. But he is going to go ahead and go back and spend some of that gold and regen some of that mana.
Well, you say less useful, but we just had a conversation about Blitzcranks without hook. And you don't have mana, you don't have hook, even if the cooldown's there. That's a bit of a mistake to see. If your laner gets a kill, you still kind of want to match the back timing, because now you see you have Tristana alone and vulnerable in the lane that's pushing into the enemy team. If Volibear was a little bit more conscious of the bot lane, he'd probably be capitalizing on this. But fortunately for CCG, it's a punish.
Yeah, and with Dragon coming up here right now, you do see that Volibear is pathing down towards that, and Hecarim is getting his back in as well. You can see that CCGA is trying to get priority in this bot lane, as well as LeBlanc. They do want to get this first dragon. A little bit of a trade coming out onto Harry Potter, but it is going to get regened back up through a pot on the Anivia. Blitzcrank just chilling in the alcove, just like he did on Zac. He wants to make a play. He wants to get a little bit more pressure in this bot lane so that they can swoop up this dragon.
And you'll see Volibear gets spotted out on a ward. Really good vision play.
Oh my gosh, the hook on the
range
Jinx. The explosive charge does come out. The flash, but he is going to get zapped. Oh my gosh, I can't believe he got out of that. The turret shot nearly killing Gleason in the bot lane. That hook from the Kid was so close. It just barely scratched the surface of that Jinx. And now with the Tristana being 2-1, that is going to be a scary bot lane.
Yes, it's Really good hook on the side of Blitzcrank there. Absolutely max range. I don't know the mechanics exactly for the Blitzcrank hook. For example, Thresh hook does the little AOE at the end, so sometimes you can see the hook looks like it goes around minions. But it's really some weird mechanic like that. Volibear coming in to
Flash
deny
too,
the
but
dragon.
yeah, he does have to use the unstoppable onslaught to get away, which is good. That does allow the Ram Ranchers to secure this dragon. They do end up burning the TP from Infernal Fox, which I don't think was necessarily needed. Set was able to just kind of walk down. You can
Mhm.
see in the top lane that the lane is fairly even. I believe it is pushing away from the side of Ram Ranchers. So oh my gosh, before I can even talk, the kid is able to hit another hook, meaning that the explosive charge is able to explode from Tristana. Going back to my previous point, that does mean that Mundo is going to miss a little bit of experience, a little bit of gold, having to walk back up to his lane.
It's actually going to
But
miss more. It's pushing towards CCG.
oh my gosh, have I been saying that wrong this whole time? That's what I meant. It's
No,
pushing away.
it was a coin flip. I don't think there's any judgment there. We're just looking at the menu map to count the minions on that one. But it looked like it was eking out an advantage for the red side minions, so pushing towards blue side.
Yes, exactly. Yes, it was pushing towards blue side, which means that it's probably going to be killing more of the enemy minions, meaning that he's not there to take that experience or that gold. So he is going to miss out a little bit on that. On those two things, which in the top lane you definitely want. It looks like the Anivia does finally have her ultimate, but the problem is that LeBlanc is just still able to burst him down, which
Mhm.
is really unfortunate for the Anivia. But as time goes on, that Anivia is going to get stronger and stronger, eking out that LeBlanc's power.
Yeah. That being said, going back to the pregame conversation, very annoyed with this LeBlanc. 0-0-0. We're level 7, level 8 now. She's done well to secure advantages for herself. But really, the general formula for roaming from the mid lane is you want to shove minions and then go. And generally, the enemy laner will take so long to shove back out again that you can go make your play and come back right as the minions are crashing back into your tower, or even if you're lucky, a little bit before. Hook goes a little bit short on the Blitzcrank that time, but LeBlanc has not pushed out and roamed, it seemed like. And that strat works for anyone else except Anivia. Nivea R is going to just destroy those minions so fast that you're just not going to find roaming timers anymore. So it's a huge missed opportunity, and again makes me question why the LeBlanc pick was made in the first place.
Oh, there's the hook from the Blitzcrank, and the explosive charge does come down. But it looks like the Lulu ult is able. Oh my gosh, the shutdown from Jinx. That rocket was clean. So that does end up being a 2-for-1 on the side of Ram Ranchers. Man, they really turned that around. I do not think that CCGA did expect the Volibear to come out of nowhere and clean up that fight. Damn.
They definitely did not need to die there. Also, Tristana died with Buster Shot and heal up. I don't know. Maybe Tristana just didn't have the mana, but probably could have just knocked the Volibear away and walked out as friends.
Yeah,
Blitzcrank
probably.
also had Flash, so he could have gotten out just with that little bit of space. But who knows? Maybe it might have been a mana issue.
Yeah.
But it's still 1 for 2 in the bot lane.
Here's Blitzcrank, and the ultimate comes out from Blitzcrank. Oh, the fail flash. Oh my gosh, but there's the unstoppable. I'm sorry. Yes, there's the unstoppable onslaught that is able to take down Idil in the jungle. So they are able to get 2 kills from just Ram Rancher's just being in the wrong spot at the wrong time. Like, that is unfortunate. The passive does come out from LeBlanc, who is going to get solo killed in the mid lane. But here's Blitzcrank landing another clean hook and another kill for Gleason. That is, man, they are rolling away with this this bot lane, meaning they are going to get a bunch of plates, a bunch more gold, and this Tristana is going to be very, very scary moving forward.
Yeah, it's absolutely great to see the positives coming out of the bot lane and the jungle for CCG. But now, this is why I'm so critical of the mid lane pick, is because if you aren't strong enough to withstand the Anivia, it was a little bit unfortunate that she's distortioned into the stun.
Yes.
That's just the thing that happens sometimes. Sometimes the Anivia fingers are quick enough to get the stun off. But now you become a liability. Worst case scenario, like LeBlanc was up 20 CS and now she's down 4. And Anivia can just farm you for Dark Seal stacks. So now you've gone from becoming a strong early game threat to just win condition liability for your team.
Yeah, exactly. Now everybody is down on the bot side. They do want to fight over this dragon. Devastating charge does come through, but it does not get anything. Harry Potter drops down the ult, and there's a lot of damage coming into CCG, and it does look like they are just going to lose that fight. Oh my gosh, but here's more of the ult from Harry Potter, and that is going to take down Set, and they're just going to lose this dragon. They are so split up during that fight, and that is just something that we see so often from the side of CCG. They're basically just getting kited out, and they're split up, and then they lose the fight. Oh my gosh, the Blitzcrank hook onto the Mundo. The Blitzcrank ult does come out, but it is just not enough damage.
Yeah, Mundo kind of walked that or the explosive charge into Anivia. Not enough to motivate them to try and go in for the kill threat. Yeah, so it's a dragon loss. Looks like they're all going to get away.
Ooh,
Distortion's out of the stun. Very clean. Looks very nice.
Yes.
Still going to be in an awkward spot, though.
Yeah, and here's the thing is, like, they have managed to, before they were 2.5K gold up, CCG was, and now they are dropping Rift Herald mid, and they're going to get a whole bunch of plates. And now, they were able to close that gold gap up until the Rift Herald was dropped. So the thing is, oh, go ahead.
Question mark pings on that one, because it's looking like the bot lane turret was low enough to get plates on. It looks like they just expired those, so maybe there just wasn't enough time to get down there. But when you drop Herald like that, especially just to get plates and not just to secure the first tower money, yeah, that would have been in range. Now that we see the bot lane tower, that would have been in range just to get the kill on the tower. But when you're just dropping for plate money, it's really important to decide who you're trying to put that gold on. And I don't think dropping 160 gold onto LeBlanc is really going to help you out all that much. It feels like it's already past the state of the game where LeBlanc can force an issue, because who's she going to be targeting in team fights? She's just going to be targeting Jinx. Nivea should be too far back to take damage, but Blitzcrank is trying to go and land a hook, and he does.
Yes, the ultimate does come out from Lulu, meaning that the explosive charge is going to explode, but it is not enough, or it is enough to get the Jinx, but not enough to get the Lulu, which is unfortunate. Lulu is able to get away, and you can see Volibear hovering there. He knows that if they're going to go in and try and get that kill, he's going to cover for them. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Go ahead and continue your train of thought.
Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah, so I think it's important to really consider who you're giving gold to, and I don't think LeBlanc was the best option. You give it to Set, he's going to be more survivable. His W shield can get pretty massive, can tank just about anything, and he's probably going to be the one you're going to be looking at to try and engage through Nivea ulti, because it's a channel, and if Set gets close enough to land the E or the ultimate on Nivea, then that's going to be denying a huge team fight tool. And then more gold on Tristana is always great. You always want gold on Tristana.
That's right. Yeah, and another thing about that Rift Herald drop that I was kind of looking at was the fact that if they had dropped Rift Herald bot side, that would have would have made it a lot easier for Tristana to be able to roam around the map. They're obviously already going to go towards mid, but that might have given them an opportunity to roam top and start chunking down that tower. Most of the time, you want to rotate from the bot lane to the top lane after you've taken that first turret. If you are able to get that during turret plates, but even so, unlocking your top laner after being able to unlock your bot lane is super, super important. There comes the Q out from Volibear. They are fighting a little bit over the chickens, but the Jinx Chompers are coming up behind the Set. Set is in a dangerous position, but the Haymaker does come through, able to block that Jinx rocket.
Absolutely. Yeah, you generally do want to rotate the bot lane to the top lane, usually because they have more damage, more consistent damage for turret taking, especially in the Tristana. But in this particular composition, it's not a must. Sat is definitely capable of pushing on his own. So there's a lot of flexibility in CCG to do what they want to do. I will say that they're doing a good thing here in keeping up the pressure. Was that red side Herald or blue side?
I honestly didn't see it. I know that they just took Herald, but I did not see where they dropped it. I don't think they.
Yeah, blue side Herald, top side. Okay, so they're
Yes,
going to get top lane tower for sure. Looking. Oh, flash engage.
The flash. The hook comes out from Blitzcrank. The passive does come down from Anivia. Oh my
Easy
gosh,
money.
they are. This is the thing I don't understand about CCG. They play so cleanly sometimes, but then other times they just like run it down. So it's these plays that you see when they're all rotating to the same place. They all have an idea of what they want to do, and they make it happen. It's in these situations where they get split and where they're not able to, where they don't know exactly what the play is, that they just kind of fall apart and crumble. And
Yeah.
I love seeing it when they're all on the same page because they are so good when they're all on the same page. But Set getting caught out here. He does ulti the oh my gosh, the Haymaker comes out, the ultimate from Volibear. The TP from LeBlanc does come out, but it's not enough to kill the Volibear. But now LeBlanc's in a tough spot. The TP comes out from Anivia, and LeBlanc is able to just get out of there.
That's why people top
Like
side.
re-engage. Why is she going back in? The turret's right there. What are you doing? Oh my gosh.
She's doing LeBlanc things, leading him on a merry chase, walking around the map. Distortion back.
And oh my gosh, here comes the passive out from LeBlanc. Oh my gosh, LeBlanc goes back to her body. She is ignited. Oh my gosh. They all five have spent so much time out there. Up there. You can see that Tristana is able to get enough time to push out that mid lane, and they are able to start getting their vision lines pushed up. I don't know what Sora is doing. He is able to get the devastating charge onto Anivia. Anivia does not have passive, but the Blitzcrank hook does go wide and misses the Lulu.
They still get the kill, which is great. I would have liked to see them just continue to push. They had 5 people topside, just wasting time on this LeBlanc.
Just
that was
determined
to not escape. Just playing around with them, really.
Yeah, exactly.
But I feel like they definitely could have gotten a lot of turret damage, at least, if not a whole tower or even 2 whole towers with the Tristana push. Because they had every single member. And before this, when you're talking about how clean CCG was playing, it was textbook 1-4 split push. They had Set in the top lane, just AFK pushing with Herald. Everyone else was mid lane until they saw the Anivia was a little bit overextended, going outside of under a tower, and they just executed a good roam and kill on the Anivia, and it's stuff that I want to see more from them.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. And now you basically have all of these you have all of these lanes pushed all the way past the river, which means that CCG is really able to do whatever it is that they want. With Ram Ranchers on the back foot, unfortunately, they just kind of have to wait and see what CCG does, and be reactive as opposed to proactive. Um, and so, I mean, what do we want to see from CCG to close out this game?
Well, it's only about 6,500 gold down. Not quite the 13,000 gold that we were seeing last game when we were having this conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
So they definitely have potential. Volibear is a meaty boy. Mundo, also a meaty boy. There's lots of gold on the Anivia carry and Jinx as well.
LeBlanc. Okay,
so-
LeBlanc is able to make it out just fine.
That's really good to hear. Because you never know. She keeps distortioning in and out, makes me a little bit worried. Set and Tristana on the same tower is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah,
Dies almost instantaneously.
Yep, exactly. I would love for them to. Okay, they are rotating over to the mid lane to get that push on the mid tower. I really want to see them get more out of this Baron. I really want them to be pushing these towers, increasing this gold lead, clearing vision out of the enemy jungle. But damn, that Tristana explosive charge does so much damage to towers with the Baron buff. And Dragon coming up and go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry. To answer your question earlier, it really just comes down to coordination. I think on the side of Rem, they have a lot of tools at their disposal. They're definitely not helpless in team fights. It's just a matter of really understanding your strength right now and spending a proportionate amount of time dropping poke damage before the engagement happens in the form of Anivia stun. Probably looking for picks rather than poke with Jinx rockets, but they do have the tools to get back into this game. It's definitely hashtag winnable.
Yeah, for sure. I think that they are going to go ahead and secure this Infernal Dragon, which is definitely a good thing to see with them being a dragon down. This dragon stacking win condition, you do not want Jinx having Infernal Soul. Like that
Absolutely
is
not.
No, that is a dangerous thing. So I really am glad to see that they are getting priority over these dragons, getting the vision around the dragon pit before it even comes up, so that they can secure these things.
Yeah, and if you look at the dragons, it's 2-2 even right now, but the side of Ram has the defensive dragons.
Here, the explosive charge does come down on Volibear. Volibear was in a tight spot there for a moment, but he is able to get out. He does have to ultimate, which means one of those key cooldowns has been spent, which makes the push and the siege onto the rest of these towers a little bit harder to deal with. But I'm sorry. Go ahead and continue.
Yeah, so the side of Ram has the defensive dragons compared to the two Infernals on the side of CCG. So they're getting a little bit of health regen and a little bit more resistances, which is always great when you're playing behind. It will not stop CCG from getting this tower on the top side, though. But it's as bleak as it looks. There have been far less winnable situations where teams have come back from than this.
Oh, without a doubt. And here's the thing: is Jinx needs another item. She's halfway through her Phantom Dancer, which is what I would imagine she's building right now. But the Flash Q does come out from Volibear onto the, oh my gosh, the sidestep from LeBlanc, just barely missing Jinx just barely missing the rocket. So I'm glad to see that she is going to quickly back and make sure that she can spend her gold. Make sure that something like that doesn't happen.
Absolutely. I think Volibear was so upset that he flashed at the end of that play. Just really upset at the double distortion, the mobility of LeBlanc. But it's a pretty good game state right now for the side of CCG. Baron's coming up within a minute, 29 seconds. So we'll see as both teams start kind of winding their way, picking up some last minute resources, XP buffs, and start working their way towards the Baron pit.
Yeah. Now, here's something that's kind of a bummer. Blitzcrank just left base with Baron coming up in 10 seconds, and he does not have any control wards. Tristana does have 2 control wards for some reason, which is, oh my gosh, there's the Righteous Glory coming out, or I'm sorry, not, it used to be called Righteous Glory, now it is called Shirelia's. The Distortion does come out, and LeBlanc is in a tough spot. She is able to leap out, but unfortunately that is not going to be enough. And maybe she'll be able to get away, but no, that is unfortunate. With Baron up, you hate to see it.
Just started it. This is, I think, the second time where LeBlanc buys a really just ridiculous amount of time. Way more time than they should have invested on LeBlanc. That they could have been probably at least a quarter of the way through Baron, halfway through Baron.
Yeah.
Unsure whether it was the safe call, but definitely had potential. I feel like LeBlanc is just kind of wasting time for nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Have the ball.
Well, and here, see what? Oh, Hecarim got stuck inside the wall. Is able to use the unstoppable onslaught to get out of there. But if Ram is looking to take a fight, they are definitely going to want to do it now. LeBlanc is back up, and with the dragon coming up in 46 seconds, they are going to want to start setting up around that, getting vision down, because they want to continue this dragon stacking win condition. Hecarim going in and stealing the blue buff away from Volibear means that he will not have, or he will have 1 more charge of smite. Hopefully he saves this for the Infernal Dragon that is coming up. And Nivea is in a bad spot, but there is the Blast Cone. The ultimate comes out from Set, but they are able to get out. Oh, that is a tough spot. Oh, but the Blitzcrank hook lands onto the Anivia. The Zonia comes out. The Volibear ultimate right over the wall. The passive from Anivia is not going to be enough, and Set is able to secure that kill, as well as Hecarim being able to kill the Volibear. Man, that was another good hook coming out of the Blitzcrank. Man, these have been clean. That means that they are going to be able to secure the dragon. Again, this Blitzcrank, if I were to give an MVP to someone on this team so far, it is definitely been the Blitzcrank, for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely been making plays since the first kill onto Jinx, I believe. Yep. But it's really great to see this kind of life coming out of CCG. I feel like they're underestimating their gold lead a little bit. I know it's kind of hard to determine exactly how big the difference is in game. But you can kind of see it there. I think if the gold was a little bit more even, the fight would have been different. But it's not. So it went the way of CCG. But because of how close it was, it must be giving them some kind of false impression of how close the game is. I think it's rapidly getting to the point, especially with this Baron, that I'd like to see them just group an ARAM.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was just about to say that. Let's get 5 man down mid. Let's break one of those inhibitors. Let's stop messing around. I really want to see. I really want to see some more plays get made. I think that they have really great tempo right now, and I don't want to see them slow down. I think that there is no dragon up right now. There's no vision in the blue side. So let's see one of the. Hopefully, we have to. Charles, I can't talk. I want to see Blitzcrank make another hook, and I want to see them finish this game out strong. I think that with the 11,000 gold lead, with the gold deficit on the side of Ram Ranchers, you can see that they are just trying to hold this siege as best as possible, but they don't have a whole lot of wave clear without Anivia. And with Anivia, with the buffed up, Baron minions, magic damage doesn't do a whole lot. So even with Anivia ulting the wave, it's it's not going to do a whole lot of damage. It's going to be a long time for those minions to go down. You can see that they are doing, it looks like they're doing a 1-3-1, which is good. I like to see it from when you have Baron. The 1-3-1 pushes are very, very strong. But look, I mean, look how long it took those minions to go down, even with the Anivia ultimate on there.
Yeah, and LeBlanc is kind of floating around, looking like she's trying to influence the sideline. I feel like, so there's when you have Baron buff, it can.
Oh,
hold on, we're
here
fighting
now
right
LeBlanc is making some plays. The unstoppable onslaught comes in. They are able to knock the Lulu back, but here comes Tristana just doing as much damage as she can. The set haymaker doing a huge amount of damage on the Jinx, but Tristana's here to clean up, and I think that's game. I think that is game. Oh my gosh, the Blitz Crank Hook again onto the Volley Bear. Man, you know the kid is so clean in this game, but that is going to be the Nexus at 32 minutes. CCG is going to tie this game up 1-1. We've got a banger on our hands here. Let's go. And oh my gosh, I am so stoked. Charles, oh my gosh, I gotta calm down a little bit here. Charles, next game, what can CCG do to close this out?
Continue to play more like that. And,
obviously.
play. Have a mid laner who can contribute more to it. Because I feel like you could have played literally anyone in the mid lane. The only difference would have been just the ridiculous Mary chases that we saw in the top lane.
Yep.
But you can pick another mobility mid laner that can either execute a little bit more on dives, something like an Echo, for example, or just pick another control mage who just wants to farm it up and be relevant in the late game. I feel like the closest CCG ever came to losing was when LeBlanc was trying to force plays and just couldn't make it happen because he didn't roam earlier on. Or they could just play to the conditions that they set when they play LeBlanc in the first place. Have LeBlanc roam a little bit more. If the jungle has to come mid and push the wave out to give LeBlanc a really clean roam timer, do what you got to do. Don't worry about how like LCS teams play, or like have some weird thought in your head about what you should be doing. Just really identify what the game state is in your game right now and execute. And if that's what you need to do, you need jungle intervention to make the LeBlanc roam work, put those resources in. Because LeBlanc can definitely do a lot when she has the damage. But she felt kind of like the odd man out this game.
Yeah, a little bit underwhelming. I get it for sure. All right. Well, we are going to take a short break. Stay tuned for Game 3 of CCG versus Ram Ranchers. Stay tuned.
Ripping harder, more less. Never stop, no rest. Till the stress is breath in my chest. Till it's diamonds wrapping my neck. Progress to a god from a goddamn mess. Hopeless, more tests. More blessed. Dug deep down, trying to find my best. Find a beast, had to kill a conquest. I'm next. I'm too on till I'm too off. Come down, make new thoughts. Like jumping off of that rooftop. Hold my devil when I do nothing. Make moves based on my mood drops. Like who's lost? Like who's lost? It's yours. Steadily killing me, running my brain full of shame. I don't wanna lose it. I'm so stage trying to find my pain. I'm seeing something coming out of that rain. My team, really my team. I'ma never slow down. I'ma never behave. I'm stuck inside this prison, inside this cage. It's taking over. Sinking to the bottom of the bottle, I've been drowning, I've been floating away. Every other dollar that I got in bed, I probably went and pissed it away. I ain't fucking okay, I ain't liking it, babe. I don't even wanna talk, I'm just smoking my haze. I've been stuck in my ways, I've been stuck here for days. I've been staring at the yeah, I'm a slave for you. Getting weak, no kidding, I'm skinny, I cannot eat. Got a million motherfuckers that are paying me. I'm a slave, I'm in myself, I'm too on, I'm too off. Coming down, fake new thoughts, like jumping off of that rooftop. Oh my devil that I am not to make moves based on my mood drops. Like who plus, like who plus. It's yo, steadily killing me, running my brain full of shame. I don't know who takes the stage, I'm a slave.
And welcome back to Game 3 of CCG Amethyst versus Ram Ranchers. We are hopping right into draft. Ram Ranchers this time on the blue side. CCGA on the red side. Bands coming out: Gwen, Xin Zhao, Morgana, Karma. Very, very standard stuff, but they are afraid of the Blitzcrank. That is exactly what I thought. I mean, the kid on Blitzcrank was absolutely terrifying. So they do not want to see it, not at all.
That being said, they do take blue side advantage to secure the Nocturne. Could potentially be a mistake on the side of CCGA, honestly. Nocturne is just such a flexible pick. It can go just about anywhere.
Oh yeah.
And is currently topping the charts in 3 rows still, I believe. Mid, top, and jungle.
I think after the nerfs to his laning phase, I believe he's fallen a little bit. But I know that he is just as strong in the jungle.
Mm-hmm. I think I checked earlier today. I think his mid lane win rate, according to blitz.gg, is 58%.
In the mid lane?
In the mid lane.
Oh my lord, 58%. That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Keep in mind, viewers, little grain of salt. We're still in the beginning. Patch day was just yesterday. So there's still a lot of time for it to even out. Probably won't be that crazy. It'll probably drop somewhere around 54% as the patch goes on. Take care before you play lane Nocturne in your solo queue games.
Exactly. The Vi and the Nautilus coming out for CCGA. Now, I really, really like the Nautilus pick. I think that putting the man on a hook champion, something with huge playmaking potential, was exactly what I wanted to see because that was their win condition last game.
Mm-hmm.
And so making sure that you have that same win condition, I think, is going to allow them to basically run it back. The Kaisa this time coming out for Ram Ranchers, I don't really think that is a huge deal. I think that the Jinx would have, I don't think that Jinx was necessarily the problem in the last games. I think she was putting out a fine amount of damage. So correct me if I'm wrong. So I don't know why they changed to the Kaisa, but I definitely understand the Leona change. I know that in game 1, Lulu was making a lot of impact on the game. Game 2, not so much. So having a little bit more playmaking potential from their support player, I think is definitely a good sign.
Yeah, and questionable unforced change number 2. They're swapping out to Tristana for the Vayne in the bot lane for the side of CCGA. Tristana seemed to be doing fine.
Yeah,
Totally
for
fine.
sure.
but they are just really concerned about the Nocturne, I guess. Vayne also plays well into Leona and Kaisa. But the Condemn as a dash cancel for Leona and for separating Nocturne from you when he has the Fear Tether is very effective on Vayne. But it is spell shieldable,
Yeah, I was
which
gonna say, but he has spell shield, so
yeah, having the rocket jump just seems very effective overall. But we'll have to wait and see how this plays out in game.
yeah, they obviously know something that we don't. But the Vi pick coming out from CCG, now that's really interesting. I don't quite know. I mean, obviously they did ban the Hecarim in the first round. Uh, so obviously Ram is going to pick the Nocturne, but the Vi matchup into Nocturne, I don't believe is the strongest. I know that if you can spell shield her Q, spell shield her E, like I mean, Nocturne
Nocturne
go,
Nocturne's one of the strongest duelers in the jungle.
yeah.
I think it used to be in the olden times. The two strongest duelers in the game in the jungle were Nocturne and Shyvana.
Hmm.
Shyvana with some massive percent HP damage and on hit and just obscene damage. Nocturne with the spell shield. A lot of junglers usually have one big impact ability of IQ, Nocturne R, that they're using to engage upon, and being able to spell shield that big show-stopping ability makes it really hard to win 1v1s. Ziggs coming in for the mid lane into Silas, I'm guessing, is going to be the answer. I don't know about giving Silas access to Mundo Ultimate, but that's the decision they've made today.
Hmm. Well, that no, they picked first. They picked Silas first, and so they picked the Mundo into the Silas.
Yes, they
Uh
did.
oh, wow.
Uh,
Yeah, my thought train was backwards there. So you're right. That yeah, that's not the best. Maybe their top laner can only play Dr. Mundo. Maybe he's a Dr. Mundo one trick.
yeah.
But the Gnar coming out from CCGA, you know, I didn't see a problem with the set. I mean, he was doing just fine. I saw some plays that he made that were actually really impactful. I'm thinking specifically towards the end of last game when Set ulted Anivia into the wall. She was able to get over the wall, buying time, but that was able to buy time for the Blitzcrank to come back over and hook.
Mhm.
So I don't see why they changed to the Gnar. Maybe he's having some trouble in lane. Uh,
Yeah, Nar's definitely very potent into the Mundo and lane. Can if Nar gets a good couple of trades off, he definitely has skill throw in the Mundo with the Q slow and the percent HP coming in off the W.
mhm,
Definitely strong. I'm still just really hung up because you lock in the Nocturne and Leona, which
uh-huh.
are really potent for Silas to have. Um, Ideally, in these types of competitive, coordinated uh, tournaments and matches and such, as opposed to solo queue, you really want to have good vision up. So Silas can just kind of poke into the jungle real quick if he sees Nocturne kind of floating around, rip the ultimate real quick, and if he's taking TP, he can pull a Nocturne.
Yeah,
Pop the ulti, TP, and make a play. Leona ulti is really valuable. Mundo ulti is really valuable. He can take Ziggs ulti, just drop a bomb for fun, for wave clear if he really feels like it.
well,
There's a lot of options for the Silas to be really impactful this game, I think.
yeah, yeah, and the Ziggs ultimate has really high AP ratios. So compound that with Silas's ultimate, that's that's gonna be a really strong mega exploding bomb thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's gonna be rough. So who do you think at this point, just right in front of us, who do you think won the draft?
Um, so overall, I think Ram has the more stable draft. I think their burden of execution is really low. Nocturne presses are, Leona presses are, Mundo presses are. They run forward.
Mm.
Kaisa wants to R very precisely, probably to either avoid like a Nautilus hook or something like that, or to engage in a way that gives her isolated Q damage on a squishy target.
Yeah.
Um, but on the side of CCGA, Vi is going to have a difficult time. There's a lot of burden of execution on Vi and Vayne to try and make sure they aren't condemning people out of combat, for example, or making sure that the Vi CC is actually landing and not getting spell shielded.
Yep.
So there's a lot of I won't say a lot. It's really just Vi. It's going to be having some problems. Vayne could probably just turn off E entirely if she wanted to and still be useful
Off
champion,
those waves.
Yeah.
putting out tons of DPS.
Yeah.
Um,
I think here's my thought is I think that what you said about burden of execution on both of these teams, if I'm looking at them individually, if I'm not looking at CCGA and I'm just looking at Ram Ranchers, I'm thinking that you have got a huge dive, right? You've got Nocturne who wants to dive into the backline. You've got Leona who wants to ult in and then dive. You've got Mundo who just wants to run straight forward. If he could, he would run through walls. And then you've got Kaisa and Ziggs just pelting things from the back. It's a very, very potent team fighting composition.
mhm.
So if we flip that over and go look at CCGA, you have a much more. There are a lot of things that have to go right, have to go right on the side of CCGA.
Mhm.
Right? You need a clutch Nautilus hook. You need a very well placed stolen Silas ultimate. You need to have Vayne not be able to be touched in the backline, which means that Gnar or Vi or Nautilus is going to have to peel very effectively for that Vayne. Now, as I was thinking about the draft as we were moving forward here, I was thinking about in the last game how Mundo was basically soaking up a lot of Tristana's damage. I'm sure he was giving them lots of problems. Having to get through that tank in order to get to their backline was very difficult. And I'm assuming CCGA knew that Mundo was coming. That's why I'm fairly certain that they picked the Vayne, right?
Mm.
The problem is that all Mundo does is build health,
Yes.
right? So why pick the Mundo again? We were talking about Silas stealing all of these really great ultimates. Why pick the Mundo? It just it brings up a lot of
Uh,
questions.
it does. It's probably a comfort pick, and it is kind of unfortunate to see that there is a lack of diversity in the champ pool, which I feel like
Mhm.
this is an indicator of. Um, but at the same time, uh, Mundo is pretty sticky. He can avoid CC like a Vayne Condemn if he tries to do some kind of TP play.
Mhm.
But assuming he can stay safe against the Gnar, he can stay completely safe and just farm minions with Q, totally fine. He can also try and play around his own minions to avoid Gnar's Q and try and trade with his cleavers. So it's not the worst matchup in the universe for the Mundo. But I feel like if he had proficiency on other champions, there are a couple others that could be better into Gnar specifically.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And honestly, it wasn't really the matchup so much that I was worried about. Is more so the uh, when they start getting to the team fight phase of the game, right? I am really stoked that Gleason is running the Sentinel Vein skin. That is that and the Aurelia as well as the Olaf new skins are so dope. I was really glad to see those. But anyways, I'm getting off track. Uh, the matchup wasn't so much what I was worried about. What I was worried about was the team fighting.
Oh
Um,
no.
say again.
We're rocking double exhaust on the marksman in the bot lane, which is
Nice.
really only useful for one of them though. Because if Kaisa gets exhausted, a lot of her upfront burst with I think it's Cathy and Rain goes out the window. On the other side, if you exhaust a Vayne, Vayne's still going to be dealing true damage to you.
Oh, for sure.
Exhaust does not slow attack speed, I believe, anymore.
No, it does not.
So it is absolutely not mitigating the Vayne exhaust DPS. There are options for Vayne's build. If Vayne
Oh my
goes,
gosh, look at this.
oh no, they made the same way.
Yes,
They
I
were
love it.
they
Everyone had the same idea, and that is awesome. That is a lot of fun. Five
ah,
man into 5 man. That is good.
someone needs to make that meme where they're looking at each other from the turning cars. Oh no.
Yes. Yes,
That's
exactly.
exactly. Someone needs to make that meme right now because that is exactly what just happened.
Yes,
Um,
exactly. That is so fun. Now, Ziggs was able to get out a little bit of poke during that fight, but I mean, there were
um, it was
30
before the
seconds
minion
in.
spawned and no one was
Yeah.
thought out. Everyone just went back home,
Yep.
regened their bruised egos. They probably both thought that they were really intelligent on that invade until they saw each other making the same call. That's one of those things they're probably going to be talking about after the game for a while.
Yeah, for sure. Now, this is interesting. You see Nocturne starting his blue side
Hmm.
with, oh my gosh, but here is a quick little trade from the Kaisa and the Leona.
Hmm.
It doesn't look like Kaisa was quite able to proc her passive, which is a bit unfortunate, but they are still able to get a bunch of chunk damage onto the Nautilus. That is that yeah, that makes things a lot more dangerous for
Hmm.
the kid. He is able to chug one of those pots and get his health up a little bit, which is
Hmm.
great. But still, having that one less pot is going to mean that if more trades come through, it's
Hmm.
going to make it a little bit more difficult.
And I don't know why it took me until we got in game to like really notice this. But they were actually talking about the Leona into Nautilus matchup, either on the LCS stream or on Doublelift stream. They're doing their casts about how Nautilus is kind of just a budget Leona.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
Nautilus is really squishy in the earlier levels, and he just gets a shield, and that shield, when you don't have the raw armor and MR to back it up, gets wiped out pretty quick. But Leona, with her aftershock and with her W giving a lot of resistances, you'll find that Leona is going to be taking a lot less damage than Nautilus in trades.
Oh, for
So
sure.
he can't afford to engage negligently. Like you saw how he went and landed a hook back on Leona, but the damage just was not equal at all.
Yeah, and
Um,
the bone plating as well. Like it's just like it's it's nothing. It doesn't even it scuffed her shield a little bit. That's
yeah,
really it.
absolutely. So Nautilus is just going to lose every trade that they don't land a hook on Kaisa. So anytime you see in lane phase, whenever he lands a hook on Leona, or in team fights when he lands a hook on Mundo or Leona, you'll probably see them take a huge damage chunk at the beginning of the fight. May not be enough for them to lose the fight outright, but they'll definitely be starting that fight from a deficit.
Yeah, definitely for sure. They are able to push up the lane, which means they are going to have priority. Vi is able to secure that scuttle down in the bot side, which is super cool. But they do spot out the Vi on a ward. which means that Ziggs is able to rotate down a little bit, maybe even get some poke onto the Vi, but Vi is able to just go ahead and Q out of there. Now, we were just panned up into the top side. Oh, but the bombs come out from Harry Potter. Unfortunately, that is not going to do. Oh, the flash Q from Sorsha is not quite enough to land onto the Ziggs, but she does burn Ziggs' flash, which is key, meaning that he is going to have one less disengage tool to get away from the Silas.
Yeah, it's definitely a very strong commitment from the Vi. Flash Q is a very strong tool. That being said, I would say that it has the potential to be really good, not a total loss for the side of Vi, because Silas just has a lot of natural kill threat into champions like Ziggs. You can E dash and then W to get onto a target, and then just point blank E. For a really strong burst and CC chain.
Not to mention all of his passive.
Absolutely.
All of his passive stacks, yeah.
Absolutely. But with Ziggs not having flash to try and get away, you're stuck trying to land a W. And when Silas is practically inside you, W has just as much chance of knocking Silas further into you as well, rather than away from you. So it's really hard for the Ziggs to try and outplay without flash. So I'm hesitant to really criticize Vi for the flash that looked very unlikely to hit anyways, because there's a lot to be gained, I think, from that play for Silas.
Yeah, and I think she flashed a little bit too early. I think if she had waited just a little bit, because the way that Q flash works on Vi is if as long as you flash before she stops her Q animation, she will. You can still flash and land the stun. Oh my gosh! But there's the engage from Nautilus coming out. The does come out from Kaisa, so she is able to get a bit more burst damage on to the Nautilus. But I think that means they're just going to take that free Drake. But here comes the ult from Ziggs. But the fear also does come out from Nocturne. I believe this is just a free dragon for the side of CCG. Amethyst. I think they're going to try and go for a re-engage, but there's the hook on to Nocturne. Oh my gosh, but there's the Mundo coming in from the back, and there's Gnar onto Kaisa, able to land a perfect ult onto Kaisa, but unfortunately, Gnar is not long for this world. Oh my lord. That is a 4-for-1 on the side of, oh my gosh, can they secure the kill on the Nautilus? 5-for-1 for Ram Ranchers. Oh man, I really wish that they had not gone back for that engage. I wish they had just secured the dragon and moved forward.
Absolutely. That first Ziggs ult turned out to be Silas ulti, trying to drop some more damage on the Nocturne. It didn't look like there was any kind of color indicator. I had to watch the replay for that one to see for sure. But that was an unofficial ace about 7.5 minutes into the game, 7 minutes into the game. So it's really going to be on CCG right now to reset their mental and not let that play impact them.
Yeah, exactly. And you know who I feel bad for right now is Gnar. When you are 5 CS up and your enemy laner has 2 kills and 3 assists, that means that Mundo is able to go back and get his full plated steel caps. And when you are facing a ranged matchup, plated steel caps are your best friend. So it's just going to make Mundo's laning phase into a ranged matchup that much easier. So yeah, I feel pretty bad for Gnar right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough one.
Oh, but here's Vi onto the Nocturne. There's the spell shield that comes out. The paranoia does drop, but the ult from Vi comes through, and that means that is a dead Nocturne. But the ultimate does come from Mundo, but they do go over the wall, and there comes Leona, oh man, making the big roam from bot side. The slow comes through, but the ult from Ziggs, and wow, they are able to get out. That pretty much unscathed. I mean, yes, Gnar took a little bit of damage. The sad part about this is you'll see that the wave was actually pushing away from Gnar. So the fact that Mundo is pushing this right now, I don't know if he wants to go back. I'm assuming he does. But the fact that the wave was pushing towards Mundo means that he could have denied a lot more out of Gnar than he did.
He did get it all the way under tower, so that is a slight benefit. It's going to freeze a bit now, though, I think, or slow push towards Gnar.
It will slow push away from Gnar at this point because it crashed.
Okay. Bot lane got some resources for Vayne because Leona left. That being said, Kai'Sa's still 10 CS up. So it's a lot of what the future of this game is going to ride on the next big team fight. Probably on the Infernal Dragon. It'll probably give us a good idea of the mental states of each of these teams going in, what their focus is coordination-wise, and to see if CCG can shake off the early game unofficial ace.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the dragon is still up. We're 10.5 minutes in, and it looks like CCG really does want to get this dragon. They're consistently clearing vision, making sure that they have Prio in the bot lane, making sure that they have someone around this dragon so that if someone does indeed try to start it, they are able to contest it. No TP on either Mundo or Gnar. They are just going to go ahead and start this. They are Leona and Nocturne, but here comes the paranoia. Oh my gosh, blue team does able to steal that away, but Nautilus just can't tank enough damage, and that means that Vayne is just going to go down. And there goes Nautilus as well. They are able to secure a kill on Nocturne, but the simple fact is that I don't think that was worth. You know, they were trying to secure that dragon, but at this point in the game, Ram Ranchers they're just stronger. And the fact that you have a Ziggs on the enemy team means that you're going to have such turret pressuring pressure. So they're in a tough spot. They're just going to be able to snowball this gold lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Vi really felt the need to commit to the dragon. I don't think you really need to pressure that hard for the first dragon. Even if it's Infernal, it's only a 4% buff. Yeah. And you have a Vayne. Vayne doesn't really care about her AD values unless she's going like a really high crit build. But I think Mundo and Leona and into an exhaust like Kai'Sa has, I think going for the on-hit true damage build is probably the way to go. So they could have afforded to just let it go. But again, I said the fight was going to determine how I felt about their mental states. And it seems like CCG is feeling under a lot of pressure to make plays and not give up resources.
Yeah, I can.
Even to their detriment.
Yeah, I can see that. 100%. It does look like they are starting to slow down now, which is good, which is exactly what I want to see. I want to see them give some time for Vayne to scale up a little bit, give time for Silas to finish his first item, and really just take some time to let the Vayne get online. I think Vayne is for sure going to be their win condition. I think also that they have kind of relegated, the kid to this engage, right? But he's really not able to do much after the engage. He does have 6 now, which is going to give him a little bit more utility in the team fights. But he's not. I mean, as of this point, they're not getting a whole lot done down there.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say that
Oh, there's the engage from Leona. The paranoia comes in onto the Vayne, and that Vayne is not long for this world. But she is able to get away. But Nautilus does go down after the explosive bomb. I don't know exactly what that's called. The giant bomb from Ziggs comes down, able to secure that kill.
And that's going to be a kill secured in quotation marks. I'm pretty sure. His bonus damage was not super required there.
Oh my gosh,
it's popped under tower again on the Silas.
Oh my gosh. Harry Potter doing work today, but the Gnar does get a kill on Kai'Sa. The shutdown does mean an extra 150 gold over to Gnar, which is good, which is great. Gnar definitely needs that going into a 2-0 Mundo at this point. There's not a whole lot going on up in the top lane, so seeing Gnar trying to make those plays in the bot lane is definitely what we want to see.
Yeah.
The Stride Breaker coming out is another key item spike for Gnar, so I think hitting that is really good.
Absolutely.
Now, one more thing I want to say is you'll see the Everfrost coming through for Mundo. Choosing the Everfrost over something like Sunfire Aegis is excellent because of the fact that Silas wants to move around, Vayne wants to move around, Gnar wants to move around, Vi wants to move around. Giving those slows on those champions is going to help Mundo out immensely.
Absolutely. It's also good to have any kind of dot you can manage into a stealth champion like Vayne. As far as like the AoE from Everfrost and Mundo's W, and it's helps you see Vayne when she goes into stealth mode. You'll see that little body flicker. So it's always good. And when you land the slow from Everfrost, it makes it easier to stay in proximity even if she tumbles. So it's a really solid item choice.
Yes, exactly. The CS differentials aren't too big an issue right now. If I could get our producer to pull up the gold values right now, I'd really like to see where a large portion of these gold, this gold is going. You press O.
I thought it was X.
Oh, X. I'm sorry. There we go. Perfect. So as we can see, a large portion of this gold, or the let's wait a second while this fight goes on, and then we'll talk about the gold values. You can see they're just kind of trading blows back and forth. The Gnar just throwing his Qs, but they are very low. The ult from Vi is able to get onto the Kai'Sa, but the Nocturne paranoia does come through onto the Vayne. The Vayne is just not able to move. There's so much CC. The slows from the Everfrost, the Zenith Blade from Leona is just able to just shut the Vayne down. She's not able to get any damage off.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate to see, and something that's going to need to change as this game goes on. But you see a lot of the gold is on Mundo and Ziggs doing a lot of work. Everyone else is within spitting distance of everyone on CCG. So you're really just worried about the damage threat in the Ziggs. Trying to shut him down and get that gold, the shutdown bounty gold, onto someone like Vayne. I will say though that it's become meta in the support role for the engage beefy tank supports to finish their locket and then go anathemas chains. Lots of damage reduction, which, as we all know, damage reduction in this game is going to be favored against the Kai'Sa, less so for the Vayne, dealing the true damage, which cannot be reduced even by percentage damage reduction. So I'm hoping to see that item come through for Nautilus, but he is really hurting in the damage or in the gold department.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, Leona went Moby boots, which are a little bit cheaper, so she could get the locket out a little bit faster. But even in spite of that, those 9 extra assists for Leona probably really worth their weight in gold right now.
Well, and here's another thing about Leona. You didn't see Leona I mean, yes, you saw her roam a little bit, but most of
Mhm.
the time when I'm playing Leona, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time in the bot lane if I don't have to be there. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Once you build Mobies on Leona, you should be all over the map making plays because that's what Leona is good at doing. She's really good at making plays. Oh, but the Condemn comes out, is able to knock the Leona into the wall. The Ram Ranchers really want to get control over this blue side jungle.
Yeah.
But what I was saying is that making Leona doesn't have to roam anymore. She can basically just peel for her Ziggs and peel for Kaisa and allow them to just chill in the back line and fire off their damage. That's it.
Absolutely. I will say that it's kind of a waste to build Moby Boots if you're not going to roam.
Yep. Agreed.
Something that should be talked about in the pregame as far as like what your general strategy is going to be.
Mhm.
But it's not awful. Even in lane Moby Boot Leona, you can just walk at people, and if it's a long lane and they're overextended, you can force a flash just for free. Just because if they don't flash, you're going to queue them, and if you queue them, then you're going to ult them. Um, it's just
Yeah.
inevitable chain of CC if you don't give Leona the respect that she deserves.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. She is a scary, scary champion. Without a doubt. Here's the thing is Ziggs at oh well, it looks like they're gonna go for a little bit of a trade. The paranoia does come through onto the vibe, but that is not gonna be enough. The TP comes through on the Gnar, but Gnar does not even close to getting his ultimate or getting the big Gnar, and that is it for Gnar. That
Yeah.
TP was questionable for sure.
The fact that he was able to build Rage means that he didn't like just lose Mega. Because you have to go through that period of exhaustion where Little Gnar gets tuckered out after going Mega.
Yep.
So that was just a morally questionable TP from the Gnar. Probably just an instinctive reaction to the fact that there's a play being made. But those kind of little mistakes that make an already bad game just completely unwinnable.
Yeah, and here's the thing: is I wouldn't call that a little mistake. I would call that a why in the heck did you just TP in there? Like, I'm dead. Like, let me go. Let me die. Like, it's okay to take that lost fight and then move forward. It's when you try to save your friends that you get into trouble. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't ever save your friends. What I'm saying is that you need to either let them die or know you're going to win that fight. Like, you got to be 100% certain. And if you're even like a percentage off that you're not going to win that fight, let them die. That's my opinion, anyways. What do you think?
It seems like a fair deal to me. I'm actually thinking that every time I've looked at Kaisa's exhaust, it's been up. I'm unsure
Yep.
if the exhaust has actually come through in any meaningful way outside of I think that initial engage. I think they dropped the exhaust for the slow and like the cheese level 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But unsure if it's had any meaningful use this whole game. I'll have to look at the replay to see and make sure. Zig's doing Zig things though, Wing the tower for the easy money, tier 2s. I don't know if it's just side lane or if it's just all tier 2s, but the potential for the 550 gold is pretty huge, just widening this gold deficit.
Well, yeah, and I mean, Ziggs with his passive already does so much damage to towers. Like, it's disgusting. And now he has Baron buff. He also has his satchel. Like, their siege potential is just so massive that it's like if Ram Ranchers wanted to just barrel down mid right now, they could. I mean, there's nothing stopping them.
Indeed. Also doesn't help when Nautilus burns ulti for the lulz. Just dropped it mid. Maybe hoping in vain to stop the push, but push is still going. Ziggs is still alive. Dropping towers.
Yeah, yeah. They really need to keep. Vi needs to ult that Ziggs. like
Yeah.
100%.
We don't have the fancy LCS counter, but it's looking like this Baron power play is valued at about 3, 4, 5,000 gold.
Yeah.
Probably between 4 and 5,000. Definitely over 4,000 now.
It feels to me like CCG is just kind of letting them run them over. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, but what are you gonna do? Like, there's the paranoia
no.
comes out from Silas, and they are able to get a kill onto, I didn't see who it was, but there's the ultimate coming out from Gnar. He is able to get onto Kaisa, but they are just focusing the Leona, but Vayne is just in the back of the fight, just destroying that Mundo.
Absolutely. Can you feel that the Vayne finished maxing W now? Because I
Yes.
could feel it. It
Yep,
popped about
exactly.
30% of Mundo's health bar off that PTA proc, and the true damage coming through was
Ooh.
very massive.
You can feel the power of the Vayne coming through. All we need to do is we need CCG to just stall.
Yeah.
They
And that actually closed the gold lead by about 4,000, 4,000.
wow.
Just in that push and the wave clear on the minions.
Yeah.
Probably going to continue to close as Silas, with his magic damage, presumably farms these super minions pretty well.
Yeah.
It is
Exactly.
it is the flip side to killing inhibitors and losing the fights afterwards. If you're just mauling the super minions, just trying to get them out of your base, you're probably going to be missing out a lot of gold because you're just throwing your spells willy nilly. You can lose them to other minions and such. But if you're really able to maximize the gold gains, there's no better way to farm gold into your carries than by giving them 400 gold every wave.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. And like you were saying, look at the gold difference. Now that they are able to, push that top turret, so Rammerchers does know what they're
Probably going to
doing.
get the second one too.
Yep, they definitely know how to snowball. But the simple fact of the matter is that now Vayne is online. If she can just keep wailing on the front line, they're not going to have much of a front line. What I am a bit
Leona
nervous about
ages a little bit aggressively.
but Gnar is just kind of chilling. He is about to go mega. Oh my gosh, the Nautilus hook does land. And there's the paranoia from Silas. It is coming through. He does ult the Leona, but Gnar is just kind of chilling in the front line. He doesn't have much to do, but there is the Vi right on top of the Ziggs. That's what I was talking about. Vayne is just free firing onto the Mundo, and the Kaisa is able to clean up the kill on Nautilus, but now she is all
Tagged. That's wrapped up.
alone. She is all alone. The condemn comes through, and the tower says, all right, I'll help out a little bit. And they are able to get a 4-for-3 on that fight.
Absolutely. And in the ADC role, there's very, very few champions who can genuinely 1v9. Vayne is one of them.
Yep.
Vayne
sure.
can kill Mundo in about 9 shots. Will probably be enough.
Yep.
And Kaisa's gonna get exhausted. Vayne has that up about now. And it's just gonna really reduce what she can do. And if Vi and Gnar and Nautilus can live long enough, you see he's not going Anathemas. He's got Glacial. Anathema's chance. Yeah, but he's rocking the Glacial component and the what is that orb? Hearthstone?
I don't. Kindle Gem. That's what.
Kindle Gem. Close enough. Close enough for government work. Anyways, blue team does pick up the blue buff, which is a little bit disheartening, but I don't think CCG is excessively worried. They're just going to try and play this very safe. They made this strategic decision of giving up all their buildings before the Baron spawned, so they don't really have to worry about losing too much gold on this push.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It was a 5-head move. Is really what it was. And they're just going to keep barreling down top, and maybe we'll get another fight. But Nar's about to turn big. He's getting pissed off.
Also, Vayne has Randuin's before we get into this fight. Vayne bought a Randuin's.
Yes, which is not a terrible buy. And what's kind of crazy is within the last 5 minutes, Vayne has finished her Rage Blade, and she's gotten Randuin's. So, I mean, not in a terrible spot. You can see that the inhibitors in mid and bot are back up now, so that does give CCG a little bit better odds for turning this game around. I mean, with 3,000 gold deficit right now. I don't want to see them go a little too ham, but there is the paranoia onto Ziggs. The Ziggs does ultimate, but the Hysterics gauge comes out from Vi, but she does still go down, but Silas is on the Nocturne, and he is able to take him down. Man, this Vayne is cleaning up. That Vayne has no fear anymore.
Oh no, condemned out of the blast cone.
Oh,
you hate to see it happen.
Yep, that is it. Man, where did CCG come from? Where were they the first 15, 20 minutes of this game? Because they are pissed. They are coming back. And I love it.
The magic of having 4 beefy boys in a Vayne. Vayne is filling out in the reverse harem situation. Very well protected. Nautilus actually didn't even have to burn the Locket Shield, but you got that AoE resistances, which is always nice. And with Randuin's, she's basically unkillable. I think one of Vayne's most favorite changes this season and last season as well is Omnivamp in the rune page. Omnivamp on true damage, especially when you're putting out as much true damage as Vayne, it feels fantastic.
Yes, and now she's got the Vamp Scepter in her kit. She's probably going to build a Bork. I would be surprised if she didn't.
Vayne looked after that fight like she didn't take any damage, but I promise you she did. It just all went away after she was sustaining off of Nocturne, I think.
Yeah, exactly. The paranoias from Hi, I'm Otto have actually been pretty clean. I thought he was going to go a little bit ham onto the Ziggs that last fight. Turns out I was wrong. Yeah. So they've actually been pretty clean. He does have his ultimate up again. So I want to see. I'm fairly certain he is going to try and steal that Nocturne ult again before this dragon comes up. It is coming up in less than a minute. So we will see. CCG definitely wants to try and secure this dragon. They don't want that Ocean Soul going over to the side of Ram Ranchers. They don't want Leona having it, and they certainly don't want Moon.
They're blitzing the base. Kaisa on the end hub.
Uh-oh.
But
they are rotating. Oh, no. Can the Vi find an engage? No, she decides not to, which is okay.
You have the team kind of zoned off. The dragon hadn't spawned yet, otherwise I would have suggested having someone go and...
there's the ult on Ziggs! The paranoia comes through, but the Zonias from Harry Potter does come through, and that is not going to be enough to kill him, but here comes the Vayne, firing shots through. Oh my gosh, the Gnar ultimate is perfect, killing Elid, and the... Kaisa is stuck in the middle of the fight, but not the Zonias. The Guardian's Angel comes through, and Gnar is just stuck. He's just stuck there all by himself, and nobody killed Harry Potter. What is happening? Oh, Vayne. Oh, no. Oh, my Lord. I wish we could see that fight again. I want to see that fight again. That was... my gosh.
That stopwatch worked very well for him.
Yes.
They definitely got a lot off that. I don't know how much gold he has, but if he does not have enough, I would suggest that he gets enough before he backs. He's only sitting... Oh, no, he has enough.
Yeah, I was gonna say he
probably
could finish
for
the Zonias.
yeah, he needs to finish the Zonias. So he will have it up for the next fight, which is good because otherwise he would have been in a vulnerable spot. Would not have been able to do this again. But Silas TP's in, misses the E, misses the
Ooh, but the explosive
Everfrost.
charge over the wall.
Yeah.
And which ultimate does he have? He does not have one. It doesn't look like. I think. But there's the Vi
Vi.
going in again. Oh my gosh, the stairs cage just popped, but that is too. Oh, yeah, the engages from the Vi, but no, the Vayne shutdown on the Ziggs. That is not bode well. And I think the Vayne, or I'm sorry, not the Vayne, the Vi engages in these last few fights have been questionable at best. You know, in those first few fights that we saw around the base, they were clean. They were excellent because Vi had the rest of his team, or rest of her team, backing him up. And in these last two fights, that just simply hasn't been the case. And so when you're engaging on Vi, you have one option, and that's in. You can try and queue out, but into a team with this much CC, you're probably not getting out.
I will say that there's a little bit of a lack of heal reduction on the side of CCG. The only options are if someone hits Vi or hits Nautilus, or are being damaged by Silas. Which, when you have a Mundo and you have a Nocturne Isa, you really want a little bit more in proactive heal reduction going into these. But you also really want Vi to not 1v5 or attempt to. The really deep ultimates. I think in the engagement before this last Dragon one, it was because she Q flash Ard onto the Ziggs, which almost worked out. But the engagements are getting a little bit more wild. It's really up to CCG to take a breath. Remember why they got back into this game? Because the gold was even, and now we're back out to a 6,000 gold split, which, as we're getting close to a full build.
But there's Vi going in again. The ultimate does come out from Ziggs, but that is not. He is able to kill Vi. The double kill coming out onto the Nautilus, and Leona is just basically keeping Silas from moving. He didn't move that entire fight, and I believe that is game. They're just gonna march it straight down to the Nexus with Ziggs passive just destroying those turrets. Vayne is gonna try and kill everything, but that is going to be it for CCG. Ram Rancers does win that series 2-1. Oh man, that last game was fire. Back and forth that whole time. What do you think, Charles? I mean,
that game was going. The game was going real fast, and then it slowed way down, and then we just sprinted to the end. A lot of tempo changes. CCG almost pulling it back in, but then I think getting a little bit overconfident, and then getting panicked when the engagement stopped working. It was definitely a game that was within their power. It was definitely a pretty even game, but it was an exciting finish, an exciting game to watch from start to end.
Yeah, exactly. I think that if the engages from Sorsha had been just a little cleaner, if she had waited just a little bit longer for her team to engage with her, I think that would, I think CCG could have been able to close that out. But needless to say, that game, or that entire series, was a blast to watch. I love watching CCG play, and Ram Ranchers are just fantastic. They did a great job this series. And that is going to be it from us. My name is Zyphus, and with me is Uber Cheche. We will be back next week at this exact same time. So make sure to join us again next week at 5 p.m. PST or 8 p.m. EST. Thank you very much for watching.